memorandum of understanding with Iran.
The only way that they would ever get any benefit of the bargain is if they comply fully.
The U.S. is lifting its blockade and allowing Iran to resume oil exports. In return, Iran is allowing ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
Fox's Jared Halpern, former First Lady Michelle Obama, speaking at today's grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. She thanked everyone who helped build and staff the facility.
Barack and I simply cannot thank you enough for the care and brilliance you poured into every square inch of this campus.
Center will officially open to the public tomorrow. America is listening to Fox News.
Celebrate 250 years of America with massive savings during the Liberty 250 savings event on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Right now, get an additional $250 fuel savings discount on all new and used vehicles. An additional $250 in fuel savings. Shop over 2,000 new and used vehicles in one location, including more than 1,000 quality pre-owned vehicles with most makes and models at the Used Car Superstore. Plus 12 new car brands in Southwest Virginia. Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, Subaru, Chevrolet, Buick, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Used cars starting at just $59.95. $59.95. And your trade is worth more. Shop local and save with straightforward pricing, exceptional service and selection, certified friendly staff, no games, no gimmicks, and more inventory arriving daily, plus flexible financing options for every budget. We've got the credit. The Sheeler Motor Mile delivers choices. The Liberty 250 savings event on the Sheeler Motor Mile. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Example 2009 Chevrolet Impala stock number KA260134B plus tax tag title and $697 processing fee.
The Briar Patch in one word, heart. The Briar Patch serves hearty food in the heart of Amherst, and it's the heartbeat of friendship. Dive into our mouth-watering fried oysters, crisped to perfection, or sink your teeth into a juicy, stacked gourmet burger. The Briar Patch's vibrant, fresh salads hit the spot if you're craving something lighter. And you'll enjoy it all in a place known for a huge variety of homemade meals crafted with love and packed with seasoning. The Briar Patch in Amherst, the place where friends meet.
Starting a landscaping business? Growing your fleet? Miller Built Outdoor Equipment is focused on commercial turf professionals across Central Virginia. We help you choose the right Toro commercial mower, professional handheld equipment, and the right support plan, so your operation grows the right way. Commercial turf is your business. Supporting it is ours. Miller Built Outdoor Equipment on 12th Street in Lynchburg.
You're stepping into the fast lane on the VTRN Sports app, 93.3 FM and 1320 AM Lynchburg, or by asking Alexa or Google Home, open VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, take the fast lane through the topics that matter across the Commonwealth. This is the Fast Lane with Ed Lane.
The World Cup is continuing to deliver, even though it was a 4-1 win for Sweden over Bosnia-Herzegovina today. It was really close until the 73rd minute, the coveted point of no re-entry, if you will, when Sweden got the 1-0 advantage, and then there were a flurry of goals late as goal differential came into play, then it came out, then it came back in this one. And meanwhile, the other one, South Africa, the latest 1-1 draw, Switzerland, not Sweden. I get them confused all the time. Like, I don't know why I do. I guess it's the SWA part of it, even though Switzerland is where Roger Federer is from, getting into my tennis side. Sweden is an entirely different country, and the flags are similar but not exactly the same. So we figured we'd bring you up to speed on what's transpired today in soccer. We're starting to get into the second matches for each team. By the way, I understand this is a little bit of a detour. My bad.
Time to take a detour in the fast lane.
You can tell I'm rusty from a week off, bye-week blues, if you will. Czechia and South Africa had a 1-1 draw, but Switzerland was better than Bosnia-Herzegovina. Over the course of the match, it started to bear itself out with a flurry of goals late. I do not pretend to be the soccer guy the way that Trey is or that JJ is, but I tend to use some principles that apply similarly to a lot of different sports. Like, for example, one of them is when you can beat teams in multiple ways, you become that much more lethal in the quest to get to the top of the mountain. We'll discuss that with Eddie Renuska around 5:45. EC Glass wins the the boys lacrosse championship when a local team wins a championship. We don't always, but we often are able to connect with a coach as we are in this particular case, just to kind of recap the run, if you will. But when you can beat teams in more ways, those are key differentiators to championship level teams. And you can often have a lot of ways, but the more you can, the more lethal you become because you can counter what other teams do well. I also have another one, which is when you start to get multiple matches or games in, if there's a clear talent differential, inevitably that distance starts to grow. Look at basketball series over a period of time. That inevitably, the Knicks run is actually a really good example of this. Over the course of the series, their strength compared to everyone else, whether it's resiliency, team basketball, grittiness, determination, multiple ways to score, it started to show itself. Carolina Hurricanes, another example of that. Vegas had them tied at 2, but you saw over the course of that series, by game 6, Carolina had worn down Las Vegas, and it was only a matter of time. Am I all based in believing that, like, Switzerland, Bosnia, or Herzegovina may be the example of what you will see in future second matches of the group stage, JJ, which is the better team is going to have figured out what they didn't do in the draw they may have been involved in the first go round. They'll be able to make adjustments, and the other teams that were underdogs, that gap will widen, so you're more likely to get win-loss results as opposed to draw results over the course of group stage play.
Yeah, I think one thing that the World Cup certainly brings is a lot of pressure, and that pressure is especially apparent for the teams that have high expectations, the teams that you expect to go out and win the first game. So I think moving into these match day 2s for a lot of the teams, maybe that initial nerves have started to settle down a little bit, and you can focus into playing your game. And the team with the more talents, like you said, Ed, the most talented teams end up typically winning. We saw that today with Switzerland over Bosnia. They all drew in that group. They all drew in their first game, and Switzerland, like you said, they were dominant today.
Yeah, and Czechia and South Africa seemed like they were more even anyway. And maybe Bosnia is closer to them in terms of being even. But it seemed like, again, this is me, novice soccer guy coming in here, but it seemed like a lot of people thought that in the group, Switzerland was the team to beat. And it looks like they started to show themselves over the second half of that match today against Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Yeah, Switzerland's without a doubt the strongest team in this group, and I do expect them to end up winning the group, and they'll get the first place spot in the round of 32 and end up playing a third place team.
After Ed's potentially unnecessary detour, let's get back on the road in the fast lane.
Also taking place today, the championship parade for the New York Knicks. Canes championship parade is Saturday down in Raleigh for anyone going down there. Please be safe while you're there, including in transit to and from Raleigh. By the way, if you encounter a driving situation on the way down or back, we hope it doesn't happen. But if it does, remember 777-HURT and trostlaw.com. New York's championship parade today was relatively, compared to any of the aftermath of their games in the finals, a relatively tame experience today. There were some confrontations with the police. There were your inevitable falls from the street lamps or second or third stories of buildings because people may or may not have consumed a little bit too much liquid courage or other mind-altering substances. And if you do that in moderation, I would imagine that's okay. But if you have a problem with it, it might be time to make the trek down to Central Virginia Counseling on Timberlake Road or Wigington Road in Lynchburg. But I get that. So it was brought to my attention. So anyway, we can go back for a split second. There's two sides to the NBA championship. There's the game itself, which we'll get to in a moment. And then there's all the celebration and everything that's taken place. Like, for example, what happened afterwards where New Yorkers rioted the streets and 64 of them were inevitably arrested and a firearm was discharged during those celebrations. So there's this cab driver. There were bus drivers and cab drivers who had their cars vandalized. You may not be familiar with this guy named French Montana. He is a musician, depending on your term. And by the way, to get my usher on, by that music and other indications, I don't mind a little bit of hip hop. It's one of my weak spots. But, French Montana came to the defense. He used his social media platforms to create a GoFundMe page for the driver, one of them, whose car was destroyed. This driver does not really speak English, but used a translator and basically the details of what happened.
These are the people that make the world go around. They don't bother nobody. They're out there working, minding their business.
The driver is 59-year-old Nordin Bitat. He said through a translator the attack was so traumatic he's no longer able to work as a driver.
Someone opened the car and grabbed me out of the car by my neck. Some others were punching me on the head. I saw them opening the doors, the 4 doors, even the trunk. They were smashing, shattering the windshield, and I was really scared.
That was the CBS recount of what happened with Nordin Bitat, and I may be butchering his name even though I just heard it, the driver whose car was vandalized. And French Montana was at the beginning of that, a musician who came to his rescue by creating a GoFundMe account, and $75,000 gets donated, and even if the guy's not going to drive for a living again, he'll have some money left over and he can get himself a new car, which is fantastic. Like that warms me in the sense that there's still decency and humanity in the world. But there's the other element to this, which is I am pro, military or police presence. Now, here's where I believe I could have handled my thoughts a little bit differently, and people have added me at Fastlane Ed Lane on the social media platforms, as you can do as well. Give people a warning about it. Like, I know you should know this is going to happen, but like today is the example. Last night, the New York Police Department gave the warning. Call it a warning shot, but they put everyone on high alert, which I'm fine with. 10,000 police officers would be deployed in New York today. And because of that, everybody has time to plan ahead and to know what is coming. And if you can't handle yourself knowing what's about to happen, knowing there's going to be armed police presence, knowing they're going to be strictly enforcing rules, then at some point you might have the problem and might need a trip to Central Virginia Counseling on Timberlake Road and Wigington Road in Lynchburg. Just saying, because that's where the one thing is, I know it's common sense. After a celebration, there should be police presence. I'm for heightened police presence. I'm for bringing in armed individuals. I'm also for telling citizens this, because there's certain people like JJ and me and most of you in our listening audience who have common sense and understand don't poke the bear. But there are other people that may need that additional reminder, or may have just a level of pent-up anger, and they can't quite get to Central Virginia Counseling in time to solve that problem, and they may need a trip there later. But it would help them at least to have a little bit of warning about this so they can be on their best behavior and maybe confront their challenges later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's okay to be excited. I get that your favorite team won, but to take it out with destroying things, I've never really understood it, Ed. I mean, what do you gain from destroying things after your team wins something?
I have no idea. Like, I mean, I was in Philly again to get my usher on for just a brief moment. I was in there in 2008 when they won the World Series. It was the first major sports championship in Philadelphia since 1983. And even, 85 if you count Villanova's run to the title. They had not won anything at all. And there were people climbing the poles. There were people that may or may not have been sparking the reef, if you will. We're not talking the Great Barrier Reef or Coral Reef. We're talking other kinds of reef. And by and large, that was tolerated and accepted, even if it's not necessarily the best behavior. But once it ventures over, and there wasn't a lot of riotous behavior, fights, beating people in Tampa Bay Rays jerseys. I mean, in fact, they were kind of ignored. There were a handful of them that you may have seen afterwards, but for the most part, Philly fans just ignored them because they were in their own state of delirium. To me, that's totally fine. That's what fan celebrations are supposed to be about. I'm all for the celebration. I'm all for the ticker tape parade. I'm all for, celebrating relatively responsibly however you can. It's when you hurt other people that are not in a position to defend themselves, that's when I have a little bit more of a problem, JJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the New Yorkers today during the parade, like you were saying, maybe due to this presence of 10,000 police officers, like you said, which is a number that sounds like you'd hear in a superhero movie responding to a threat. But I think they did a good job of containing it today. The only issues I really saw were people climbing light posts, like you mentioned, and they just reached a capacity. There were so many people that came out to the parade that they said people are no longer allowed into these viewing areas because there was just so many of them.
Dude, and I'll tip my cap to New York fans and to just sports fans in general. If you have that level of passion where you have the streets so packed that people can't get in, that's insane. Like, here's an example of it. This guy is somebody that was on social media and interviewed. It may have been, I think it was Yahoo who interviewed this guy. It is Yahoo who properly attribute this. Here's one fan's recount at 7 a.m.
This is ridiculous, bro. I waited 3 hours. I waited 3 hours in line just for them to tell us it's quiet, like it's over. We're not getting anywhere, bro. It's over. It's 7 in the morning, bro.
I mean, it's kind of comical because the guy can't believe it. Maybe if I've been up, 24 hours straight or however long the poor fella's been up, I'd probably be a little bit irritated and upset. But it does speak to the passion of the moment. And that's the fine line. I love the passion and respect it and appreciate it. I'm not a Knicks fan at all. I wanted the Spurs to win the series. I've got my paternal grandfather went to Annapolis. So David Robinson, Naval Academy, Spurs, tie-in. That's the one team outside the 76ers in our family, or outside the Philly sports teams in our family. But I think it's all fine. And the fan passion makes it great. And there's so many other parts to this. First of all, the Knicks themselves winning the championship. You could sense in the parade today how cathartic this moment was for a lot of people. And I know it's New York and we're based in Virginia, but it's part of why you like sports. It's part of what gets people excited. World Cup, when Argentina won in 2022, people were excited because they had not won in a while. I don't think they'll win this time. I'm not an expert. But let's just say England wins this time. It's coming home. I know people like to make fun of that. But if they somehow win the World Cup, it will be, again, a cathartic moment for their fans. They will be excited. I love and appreciate that about sports. But you have to have a level of tempering it. And then there's the other part to this as well. The dual side of the Knicks winning the championship. So they win the crown Saturday night. And then PJ Carlesimo and Doris Burke have differing accounts in the immediate aftermath, as you heard on the VTRN Sports app. Your home for great play-by-play.
Too many of the Spurs walking off the court. That is not good. I don't care how young you are. You got to show more class than that. Only a handful of Spurs out shaking hands with the Knicks.
Emotional Jalen Brunson has thrown a towel over his face. He collapsed into the arms of his father. He is spent. He is trying to get his composure, hugging Harrison Barnes right now. What an incredible, absolutely incredible game-clinching performance by Captain Clutch.
Doris Burke at the end of that, you could sense the Jalen Brunson part. I mean, what the guy did in Game 5, and heck, all series, is remarkable. He's not built like a LeBron or a Michael or a Kobe, and he doesn't have the quick release of Steph Curry, who is undersized as well. But I love it. Steph Curry 6'3". People compare him to Darius McGee from Liberty, but he's got a good half foot on McGee in terms of height. Steph Curry does to Darius McGee. But Jalen Brunson's a 6-foot guard in a league which clearly values measurables and was clearly devalued a lot for it. And now the guy goes down as an icon. I'm not New York centric enough to know whether you like him more or Patrick Ewing more or where he fits. I think the comparisons to Derek Jeter or any other Yankee from the core four with Posada, Williams, and Rivera, as well as Jeter, I think it's a little much because they won 4 championships, not 1. But it's a franchise that I can respect because, laugh at the Nets, but it's a Knicks town. Like, they're Yankees and Mets fans. There's Giants and Jets. There's Islanders, Devils, and Rangers. The guy did a lot. But just even if you're outside the New York bubble, the little guy, physically, finding a way to get through, he is still the exception to the norm. Most 6-foot guys are not going to be able to do what he did. But there's at least a path to it. And that gives people a level of hope that you can appreciate. And that's what was really cool as well is about this run is what Jalen Brunson lacks in physical measurables and the ability to physically dominate other people. Clearly he makes up for in his grit and determination. 45 points in the clincher, the way he led this team all season. Again, it's ironic because New York's a city that wanted to have the big name stars. LeBron with the decision, the infamous decision.
Not one.
That time. Or Kevin Durant or others. And yet they never got that. They got this guy. And I think you're so much happier. It's kind of a life lesson. Sometimes what you want is not what you need. And what you need, you end up loving and appreciating so much more. And that was a really cool part to the finals that, I know we bagged on New York fans, but you got to give some flowers where it's due, JJ.
Yeah, this narrative that you're talking about of it's not possible to win in the NBA with a small guard being your best player. Obviously, we've seen that with Steph Curry recently, but Jalen Brunson completely went out and annihilated that. I had people texting me at halftime of Game 4 when they were down 27 points that that's still true. A small guard simply cannot win a championship. And he went out, and the one thing that comes to mind every time I watch Jalen Brunson play is he's a complete and total dog. He plays with more heart than just about I've seen anyone play. And every time he puts a shot up, I felt like it was going in the fourth quarter. And there's just not many guys that I feel that with.
I would agree with that. You know, in the level of clutch behavior, I get it. Analytics nerds hate this. The clutch gene, because you can't statistically measure it. I mean, I can't measure it, but I can tell you when I see it. And there's certain things that you can see in terms of that. And then the other one that's worth also mentioning as well, the championships that have happened since we've gotten down. The World Cup is starting to progress. We got to that earlier. The NBA championship. And then the Carolina Hurricanes. I know they're local, and we probably could have led with them earlier, but the New York thing kind of transcends that. Well, by the way, one more thing on the New York thing. I'm with PJ Carlissimo. I know I did a Trostwall.com fast take yesterday from Earthright Fields. By the way, they've got their roofing giveaway. It ends tomorrow. Stop by the showroom on Timberlake Road in Lynchburg for 2 registrations, earthright.com to learn more. But the Earthright Fields at FYAA, where you learn the values of sportsmanship. I get that sometimes you're not going to shake hands afterwards, and sometimes these teams will end up dapping it up each after the game in the locker room where it's out of the public consciousness. But I am a little old school in the sense that, I mean, in hockey, they beat the snot out of each other. And yes, the Carolina Hurricanes celebrated and won the cup. But then afterwards, Vegas waits around, they give the handshake line, and then Vegas gets out of there. And I think that's the right way to do it. Wait around. The other team's going to have their moment. It sucks, but it is sportsmanship. Give them their congratulatory flowers. And after that, if you want to peace out and you're in a dour mood because you lost, I don't fault anybody for that. I'm a competitor too. But I also think there's a level of sportsmanship you have to learn, win or lose. And the Spurs should be rightly criticized for not showing that afterwards, after their loss in Game 5.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, when you think about it, think of how many little kids look up to these athletes every day. They watch their games. They want to be like them. And when a little kid sees someone walk off the court without shaking hands, what kind of values does that demonstrate to that kid? It lowers the importance of sportsmanship for them. And so I think having that public show of sportsmanship, respect after the game is very, very important for people like that.
So I hear the other side of this. They're entertainers. They're professionals. So to whom more financial and resources and stature are given, more is to be expected. By the way, you're entertainers. So act like a professional when things don't go your way. You can be competitive. I get that. But I've never really bought that line of thinking. Like, another, for example, I'm a runner. I do well a lot, but oftentimes I'll finish not first, somewhere else. Second, third, fourth, fifth, somewhere else. I always try to make it a point to people that were right in front of me, right after me, and really anybody, but especially right there. You race hard with them and compete the entire time. Let them have their moment of celebration. Give them, a high five, but don't take anything away from what somebody does if they finish better than you. But be a good sport enough to go about doing this. It's the type of thing I think you need to learn at the right age. And maybe I'm a parent of 7-year-olds, and we're trying to teach our kids now how to win and lose the right way possible. So figured I'd get that out of the way. Speaking of the embrace of a great community like running, we will get to that in just a moment. Move-a-Palooza with their movement cheerleader, Bobby Grimes. Philippe Pete Roanoke with us next here in the Fast Lane on the VTRN Sports app and Asset Smart Speaker, Open VTRN Sports.
Summer sales event going on now at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bedford, with rebates and discounts saving you up to $7,000 on new Ram 1500s, or save up to $5,500 on new Jeep Grand Cherokees. Shop over 175 pre-owned vehicles priced to sell fast, many with limited warranties. Our Make This the Summer sales event is on at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 1750 Independence Boulevard in Bedford. MagicCityBedford.com. See dealer for details. N6/30/26.
The clock is ticking. Time is running out for Virginia citizens to purchase modern sporting rifles and magazines from Big Boys Guns. Beat the July 1st deadline. Right now, the selection is robust at Big Boys Guns. ARs, AKs, and the most popular handguns will soon be banned from sale in the state of Virginia. Don't wait. Visit Big Boys Guns before the inventory is gone and not allowed to return. Shop 24/7 at BigBoysGuns.com and in store on Route 460 in Blue Ridge.
Big transitions feel like big hurdles. That's why Central Virginia Counseling has 2 dynamic 6-week summer groups for rising 6th and 9th graders packed with essential life skills. Each week targets a new skill for success, tools like organization, time management, task initiation, anxiety reduction techniques, and skills for making friends and communicating well. Through peer connection and expert guidance, students will gain tools to feel capable, connected, and ready for day one. Visit us on Timberlake Road or Wigington Road in Lynchburg or at centralvirginiacounseling.com to learn more.
Big news, everyone. Earthright Roofing is giving away a free roof. Go to our website to read the terms and conditions and see if you qualify for up to a $10,000 asphalt shingle roof at no charge. Must be 15 years or older roof to qualify. Come to our showroom for a double entry into the contest or go online for an entry. Enjoy, and we look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you. Visit earthrightroofing.com or call our office at 434-248-3697 for more information about the contest. We look forward to hearing from you.
Are you sick of running your dryer longer just to dry your clothes? It might not be a dying appliance. It might be a clogged up dryer vent. Call Black Goose Chimney Service to find out. Their certified ventilation specialists don't just diagnose chimneys. They also clean dryer vents through the entire ventilation system. Get peace of mind as you're protected from lint clogging your dryer vents, one of the most common causes of house fires. Call Black Goose Chimney Service today and visit blackgoose.net to schedule your dryer vent cleaning.
Lower your energy use. Lower your bills. Call Concord Mechanical. With decades of hands-on experience, their expert team specializes in high-efficiency upgrades designed to slash your monthly energy costs. They don't just install the equipment. They optimize your entire home's performance. From precision maintenance that prevents costly breakdowns to modern, eco-friendly systems that pay for themselves. Call today or visit theconcordmechanical.com to schedule your service. Concord Mechanical. Experience you can trust. Savings you can see.
At Farmers Bank, community isn't just where we work, it's who we are. For generations, we've proudly supported our neighbors, local businesses, schools, and organizations right here at home. When you bank with Farmers Bank, your money stays local, helping families buy homes, entrepreneurs start businesses, and our towns grow stronger. You're not just an account number here, you're a neighbor, a friend, and part of something bigger. Farmers Bank, your community, your bank, your future.
Got a real craving for some real authentic Mexican food? Not some Americanized knockoff? Head to Tacos Los Amigos, where classic Mexican favorites are made from scratch and packed with flavor. From smoky and tender carne asada and flavorful tacos to cheesy quesadillas, burritos, and house-made guacamole, at Tacos Los Amigos, every bite tastes like Mexico. Tacos Los Amigos, open 11 to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday on Anderson Highway, Business 29 in Madison Heights.
Hi, this is Bill Roth, voice of Virginia Tech football. It's time to start jumping. This is your home for the Hokies, VTRN Sports 93.3 FM and the VTRN Sports app.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
For some people, the best ideas in life come when they're in the shower. For other people, the best ideas in life come when they're in a meeting or when they're getting ready to go to bed. For me, the best ideas or thoughts come when I am moving, like today during my morning run, as I learned of the title and came up with it. Movement Cheerleader. I've never heard that title before. I had never thought of that title before. But yes, it did pop into my head, and we apply it now to our next guest here in the Fast Lane. Bobby Grimes, she is a movement cheerleader. She is the movement cheerleader for Fleet Feet Roanoke and with Move-A-Palooza here in the Fast Lane. Literally, every time I show up for a race, I try to make it a point to see certain people, and depending on the location. And when I'm in the Roanoke or Salem areas, Bobby Grimes is one of the people you want to see before because she'll get you pumped up. She'll get you excited. She'll get you feeling good. Good vibes only. Bobby Grimes with us in the Fast Lane. Bobby, great to be speaking with you. We will get to Move-A-Palooza in a second. Has anybody else given you the title Movement Cheerleader before now?
You are the first, Ed, to get an official title. But I'm glad that you came to that conclusion because that's my mission when I go to these events is to do exactly that. Hype them up, cheer them up, let you know what fun you're about to get into and who's there to support you.
How much of Movapalooza is about making sure everybody has a chance to find mini movement cheerleaders?
Mini movement cheerleaders. So we're going to have as many cheerers as we can. We're recruiting cheerleaders. We got cheerleading volunteers. That is literally a station, Ed. I've created a cheerleading station for Movapalooza. Yeah.
I like it. That gets people excited about moving. All right. I know we've touched on this before, whether it's with Matt Thompson or Jess Curtin, and we'll touch on it again with Bobby Grimes because some people may not have listened to those interviews. They can go back at Fastlane Ed Lane wherever they listen to podcasts or get the audiograms at Fastlane Ed Lane on the socials. But Movapalooza, it's not just about people who like to run. That is part of it if you want that. But how much of Movapalooza is encouraging people to find whatever moves them?
That's 100% of our goal, Ed. This is all about, as we've coined the phrase, find what moves you. We're going to have a ton of movement opportunities there. It's not only about running. That's part of the stigma we want to break with this event, is we're not only here for runners. We are a hub of wellness in our community. We have lots of connections and lots of little veins all over Roanoke and the surrounding area of people that can help you with movement during, before, and after. And that movement looks different for everyone. Some people are pushing a stroller as they walk around the block. Some people are running their fastest 5K. Some care less about foot movement, but want to hit that bike or want to hit some swimming action. So we are there for anybody that moves. We just truly believe that movement can literally change your mindset about so many things. And that's super important.
What kind of vendors will be on site to assist people with their movement, Bobby?
We are going to have, I'll give some specifics, but high level, we are going to have, again, those who can prepare you for movement, those who can help you after you've moved to recover. But we are going to have Highland Sport, Highland Spine is going to be there with us. Alchemy is going to be there with us. Renewal Studios. We're going to have a cold plunge on site by Water by Design. So that's all the rage, right? Everybody's like, get in a cold plunge. So you actually will have your opportunity to try a cold plunge there. So we're going to have these guys there doing that. You're also going to have so many national brands, Brooks, Carhu, Ultra, On, these types of brands there with lots of different products for you to try, to support you in your movement, for you to have a place to experiment with different shoes, the way they fit, how they can help you. Then we're going to have something for everyone at every moment at the festival. So we also got some food trucks going on. Shout out to them. That's a very important part. We need those guys there. We're going to have sock brands. Need a sock? Come to Movapalooza. You're going to find a way to get one that day. We're also... Go ahead. Yes.
No, I was going to ask. So it sounds like there's a blend of national and local businesses and brands. So literally people can, I know it goes back to the saying for Movapalooza this Saturday, Green Hill Park in Salem, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. But people can find what moves them.
100%. We're going to have a small loop that's going to go throughout the entire festival. And that's going to be where a lot of the fun happens to find that movement. So we're going to try movement in all different ways. We're going to skip those. We're going to do bubbles around those laps. We're going to do relays where you got to eat a popsicle before you can run. And all of these brands are bringing that fun to the game. And you're right. We've got probably about roughly 15 national brands and 25 local brands and vendors that will be there.
So we're up to 40 now. Wow.
We are
rising.
We are. And that doesn't include the fun stuff like the foam guy that's going to be there with the foam pit. And we've got a local plumbing company that's going to be there with a misting tent for us. So yeah.
That's the best feeling, the misting tent. And
yes, I was so excited. I'm sorry.
Some people it's the foam, but for me it's the misting tent. When it feels better when it's hotter than that mist coming on.
Yes, absolutely. And the weather's shaping up great for Saturday, so that's exciting.
Bobby Grimes with us here. We're discussing Movapalooza. It is this Saturday all day, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. over at Greenhill Park in Salem. Simplest explanation. I know I say this often, Bobby, but people will drive an hour to get a dog. People will drive an hour for serious medical treatment, and yet they could drive an hour this Saturday from wherever they're listening in the surrounding areas. Maybe it's a little more, maybe it's a little less, to make sure they avoid having to have those serious medical treatments because they can find the preventative measures and the support group that can help them get there.
100%. You're going to find those literally in the business of helping chiropractors, PTs, official licensed folks. But then you're also going to hopefully find your people. You're going to find the other members of the community that are moms pushing the strollers around those laps. And you're going to make that connection. You're going to build that grassroots support system. That's a goal of ours, is hopefully people walk away with having met someone they want to reconnect with afterwards, whether that's a business that can physically help them with an ailment that they're having, or Susie down the street that's going to start a walking club with you and you guys are just going to get out there and get sunshine. It's all what we're looking for, is just those connections.
Well, and the cool thing about it is, and I can say this as somebody who's gone to Fleet Feet in Roanoke, there are people in there that are serious runners, maybe psychotic like myself, but there are also people in there that have different elements of running and movement that they like, which the design of the whole event is to meet people where they are and where they want to go. And where I want to go may be different from where someone else wants to go, but yet that's the cool part about this, Bobby.
100%. It's an individual journey about what you're going to find there and what it is that you need for yourself at this moment. But what's not going to be individual is that we hope we have a collective togetherness. We want everyone to find someone, because you are right. Everyone's not a runner. And even those who are, there are so many different runners in that, just being classified as a runner. So many different aspects to that as well. So we're there for everybody. 9 times out of 10, you need some type of support in some way to make that movement happen. And we're just there to connect the dots so that you can do that easily and freely wherever you are.
My kids ask this question a lot, so I need to be prepared in case I bring them to Movapalooza this coming Saturday, Bobby. They always like giveaways, free things, samples. How much are vendors encouraged to have samples and giveaways so people can try things out? And if they like it, maybe they can buy it. If not, they can just get a taste, maybe literally, maybe figuratively speaking, of things that can help them.
So we're going to have a plethora of vendors who are going to have exactly that. Each of them is going to have some type of tabletop activity. Some of those are going to include you walking away with some free swag, some free things, some free goodies. But also that's on us too. We are here to surprise and delight through this festival. And that's part of what comes with it. We've got a ton of, as I mentioned, shoe brands there. So there's going to be a lot of shoes given out for various reasons. We have our Glow Run 5K that will be happening to close out the night. We're going to do a random bib drawing, and somebody's going to win a Garmin watch that participates in that race. All of the vendors that are there also will be giving and doing drawings for other things after this event. So for instance, let's see who we've got here. Salsa Noke, Fit for Mom, the Lotus Collective, We Wheels. These guys all have their own stations there, but they're also going to be collecting information and doing drawings for classes and memberships and one-on-one sessions that you can go have with them after you meet them at this event. So you're going to get the best of both worlds, Ed. You're going to have the chance to get some things there, and you're also going to have a chance to win some things that you'll get to use in the future.
Bobby, I pray I'm not getting you in trouble with our last question here in the fast lane as we are chatting with Bobby Grimes, movement cheerleader for Roanoke and Movapalooza. I saw where your fearless leader, Matt, has called this event. He has said it is already a success. Yes. Can you elaborate on whether that is something you agree with, and more importantly, what he means by that? Because it's already a success and we still have till Saturday to go, like 36 hours.
Yes. So we do internally, Ed, look at it as already a success. To make the connections we have with the partners that will be presented there is a huge success for us. As I mentioned before, we look to be the wellness hub of Roanoke, and that doesn't happen by us staying in a silo. That happens by us of having a network of other businesses and individuals that support folks in our community in the same way. So for us to be able to pull this many partners together to see the same vision of what we want for our community and how we want to help them get there, that's an enormous success to us. That just shows us that we can do these larger things and bring this awareness to our region.
It is a success just because of that alone. And
It
it's
is.
detailed by Virginia's movement cheerleader. Bobby Grimes with us here to discuss Move-A-Palooza presented by Fleet Feet Roanoke this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Green Hill Park in Salem. It is so worth the drive from wherever you're going and however you're listening here in the Fast Lane. Bobby, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Congratulations on an already successful event and using Saturday to make it even more spectacular.
I appreciate it, Ed. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing everybody there. And by the way, I like your taste in shirts.
I appreciate it. It's a very nice shirt. I look forward to it. I threw it over top today to get my usher on, by the way, for a brief moment. My confession, because I don't want to get it dirty so that when I come out on Saturday, I can have it on. And it's not something that I have to go in with all sorts of stains, which may or may not be on the shirt. All right.
I love it. Well, I look forward to seeing you Saturday.
A big hug awaits from Bobby Grimes, and you can ask for one too, Bobby. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ed. Take care.
My pleasure. Bobby Grimes with us here in the Fast Lane. Join me, Move-A-Palooza, this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Green Hill Park in Salem. I'll be making the drive. It is absolutely worth it to check out ways to enhance your health and wellness. When we return in the Fast Lane, very healthy, I would imagine. The State of BC Glass Lacrosse, they won the state championship for the second time in under a decade. Their head coach, Eddie Renuska, slated to step into the Fast Lane next. And is he celebrating not just his birthday, but their championship? And is he a Knicks fan? I know he's a Giants fan. We'll find out all that when we return here in the Fast Lane on the VTRN Sports app.
Celebrate 250 years of America with massive savings during the Liberty 250 savings event on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Right now, get an additional $250 fuel savings discount on all new and used vehicles. An additional $250 in fuel savings. Shop over 2,000 new and used vehicles in one location, including more than 1,000 quality pre-owned vehicles with most makes and models at the Used Car Superstore. Plus 12 new car brands in Southwest Virginia. Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, Subaru, Chevrolet, Buick, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Used cars starting at just $59.95. $59.95. And your trade is worth more. Shop local and save with straightforward pricing, exceptional service and selection, certified friendly staff, no games, no gimmicks, and more inventory arriving daily, plus flexible financing options for every budget. We've got the credit. The Sheeler Motor Mile delivers choices. The Liberty 250 savings event on the Sheeler Motor Mile. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Example 2009 Chevrolet Impala, stock number KA260134B, plus tax tag title and $697 processing fee.
Midday hunger hitting you hard? Swing by Macadoo's for our $8.95 weekday lunch specials. Whether you're craving a classic crunch or something fresh, we've got you covered. Chicken tender basket featuring crispy golden tenders served with fries. The Macadoo's Chef Salad, the healthy, loaded favorite that will hit the spot. Hit back against your lunchtime hunger at Macadoo's with eats that won't break the bank.
Time to share, breaking that fun. Just to be there, the only one. Just to be there at Macadoo's.
We'll see you at the Deuce.
When you walk into Haley's, you see the size and selection of a big box store. Over 19,000 square feet of appliances and mattresses. Leading appliances like KitchenAid, Whirlpool, Maytag, Genair, Speed Queen, GE, and Monogram. And mattresses like Sealy, Serta, and Tempur-Pedic. So what's the difference? A family, locally owned business. And a staff committed to servicing you over the entire life of the product. That means before, during, and well after your purchase. Visit Haley's today, just off Ward Road in Lynchburg. Haley's, quality that counts.
Guests are great, except unwanted guests. At Specialty Exterminating, we know the difference. Hi, I'm Sabrina Kennan with Specialty Exterminating. We help you keep unwanted pests out of your home. Now we can keep those reptiles away. Our new reptile repellent is the perfect add-on for your pest prevention service. It's pet and people safe, so it's perfect for any homeowner, especially pool owners and homes in wooded and rural areas. Call us so we can repel the reptiles. Specialty Exterminating, your pest prevention partner since 1979.
Hi, I'm Al Billingsley, a board member with CASA of Central Virginia. Children who have experienced abuse or neglect often enter foster care feeling scared, confused, and alone. That's where CASA volunteers step in. We stand behind these children to make sure that their voices are heard in court. CASA is looking for caring adults from our community to serve as volunteer advocates. And as a man, I can tell you we're especially in need more men to step up for these kids. If you're ready to make a difference, learn more at cvcasa.org.
We're joined by Randy Trost with Trost Law. Randy, unfortunately, you guys seem to be seeing a lot of people that are driving without insurance and then impacting other motorists. What have you guys noticed, and what do people need to know to protect themselves?
We are seeing clients come into our office being injured by motorists without insurance. And the most important thing that a person can do to protect themselves against these uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists is to make sure their own uninsured, underinsured coverage matches their liability coverage for their insurance policy on their car, and make sure they have more than the minimum liability coverage limits and uninsured, underinsured motorist liability coverage limits.
Randy Trost with Trost Law discussing how you can protect yourself from uninsured or underinsured motorists. When people are considering their policies, do you have any do's or don'ts to make sure they have a strong policy?
I recommend getting a minimum of $100,000 single event liability insurance policy and making sure that your uninsured, underinsured liability limits are matching that $100,000 liability policy.
Randy, thank you for sharing that info with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
For more about how Trost Law can help you if you've been hurt, trostlaw.com, 434-777-HURT.
The clock is ticking. Time is running out for Virginia citizens to purchase modern sporting rifles and magazines from Big Boys Guns. Beat the July 1st deadline. Right now, the selection is robust at Big Boys Guns. ARs, AKs, and the most popular handguns will soon be banned from sale in the state of Virginia. Don't wait. Visit Big Boys Guns before the inventory is gone and not allowed to return. Shop 24/7 at BigBoysGuns.com and in store on Route 460 in Blue Ridge.
Step into the fast lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the fast lane.
We're going to be getting a lot of confessions on here in the fast lane today, including I know our next guest is a New York Giants fan. He gives me a hard time because I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So there's a little bit of a rivalry there whenever we encounter each other. I do not know if he is a New York Knicks fan or not. So we will pose that question to start things off in our chat before we get into other more important topics with Eddie Renuska, EC Glass, now two-time state champion boys lacrosse coach. Eddie, a pleasure to be speaking with you. Can you confirm whether you are or are not a Knicks fan as well?
Hey, thanks for having me, Ed. I am a Knicks fan. So Saturday, I got 2 championships on Saturday.
Between that and then your birthday and their parade both being today, have a week. I mean, does anybody tell you it's probably gonna be hard to get better than the last week for you?
You know, I'm still kind of coming down on that emotional roller coaster. I think it's hit me to a point, but I don't think fully hit me yet. It's been a great week. It's been a great month. It's been a great year. Just very thankful of the opportunity we've had with these boys and this season finishing on top.
We will get to all of that in a moment as Eddie Renuska, the EC Glass boys lacrosse coach, is with us here in the fast lane. Now, 2-time state champions. First of all, though, you know, I've seen it on social media. Plenty of people have. The send-off from EC Glass to head up to Leesburg to get the championship game going. And then the bus breaks down. And then Frank Mack, one of the bus drivers, comes up and rescues you. Did you guys give him any award as well? I mean, I know you cleaned up with a lot of All-State hardware, but it seemed like he was kind of an unsung hero in this thing.
So Frank was definitely an unsung hero. You know, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that happened with that as well. Prior to Frank coming, we actually got about 12 to 15 of our families who actually pulled us off the road on 29, brought us to Albemarle High School. I have a buddy who coaches over there. We sat and ate there for about an hour and a half. Thank you, Dave King, Albemarle boys lacrosse coach, for opening up your cafeteria for us. We sat there, and then we heard that the charter bus company who was sending another bus actually broke down. So at this point, I was getting nervous because it wasn't looking like we were going to get where we needed to go until about 10 o'clock. All our families came back. We got permission from downtown. All my families did a great job helping me organize all our kids with all of our lacrosse stuff. I'm sure their cars all smell pretty bad, but we made it up there. So our parents actually got us all up to the hotel, and then Frank met us there that night where I met him in the lobby. We got him situated, then he took us to the game and brought us home. So he was definitely a big help with everything, but I want to give a shout out to all my families as well. Friday, we faced a lot of interesting hurdles to get to that game, and the biggest thing for me was to not let it affect the boys. And the boys did a really good job, as teenagers kind of getting stuck on the side of the road and having to be moved. We sat in an orthopedic office for about 45 minutes because it was about 110 degrees. Then we moved over to Albemarle, got a limo bus to bring us over to Albemarle. I mean, the story goes on. But luckily we had Frank. He came up, was willing to come up and meet us, stayed the night at the hotel with us, and then brought us to the game and help us, reach our ultimate goal, and then took us back home safely. And we were really appreciative of that.
Eddie Renuska, the EC Glass boys lacrosse coach, who is stopping by with us here in the Fast Lane. They just won their second state championship this past Saturday against Salem. You brought in all those other elements to it, but getting to the game Saturday, it sounds like there was so much going on around it. Does it get to a point where there's so much going on around it that the game is the safe haven, and once you get there, your guys are able to block all that out and just focus on playing itself?
Ed, we've had a lot of adversity this year with the team, and it's been a roller coaster ride. And the biggest thing that we try to do and tell these boys is control the control. We'll control the 48 minutes within the lines. And I'm so proud to see how these young men control that and just focus on what they can control. And I think that's the biggest thing. You want to use this sport, this game as a platform to help these boys grow and teach them life lessons. And, between some adversity, we had some injuries, different things like that, having to travel, buses breaking down, what they can control is from whistle to whistle. And they did an outstanding job. And it's really a dream come true to just see the leadership and the growth of all these young men, and then to finally, see these seniors finish on top with a state championship.
You won a state championship in 2019, and then obviously 2018. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
For correcting that. What did you learn from that first state championship run that you conveyed, and that most importantly, I'm sure from your perspective, that your guys were able to absorb and implement that got them over the hump for you for a second time, for this program for a second time, but for many of them, the first time and an ultimate goal that they were aiming for?
So I guess the biggest thing I learned as a coach, and one thing that we talked about before the game, we were in the state championship 17, 18, 19, and 21. And the first three were pretty much went by so fast that I felt like the first whistle came and then the last whistle went and then it was over. And what I tried to tell these guys, I said, this is me the fastest 48 minutes of your life. I said, take a deep breath and soak it all in, because before you know it, it's going to be over. So make sure that you leave it all in the field for your team. So that was really the biggest thing, is just kind of take a deep breath, soak it in, check out the surroundings. But once you step on that field, realize that clock's running and, you're running out of time to leave your impact on this field and help your team win this game. So just really kind of embracing the moment, taking it all in, and then playing the game like they know how to do.
One of the things that's jumped out, we touched on this earlier in the Fast Lane today, Eddie, and we've touched on it at other points as well, that you can have really good teams, but oftentimes one of the key differentiators in a championship team is winning at multiple levels and multiple ways that you can beat somebody. You guys had 4 first-team All-Staters, and they were all in different positions: attack, mid, long stick, mid, and defense. How valuable was that level of talent spread out in different unit skill sets to being able to help you guys beat people different ways over the course of the season?
If I'm being transparent, I think that those 4 guys are obviously great leaders for us, but it took everybody. There's a lot of guys not on that All-State team that have done things for us this year that helped us, that have been impact players. Obviously, our 2 seniors that are on the team, Charlie Landis and Billy Hooper, are just outstanding leaders for us. Landry McCall is a captain for us as well. Did an outstanding job as a junior for us. And then Jude Haskey, he's been a 3-year starter, 2-year captain for us. Just an outstanding young man, just helping lead the defense. But I think Billy Hooper, the day before the last practice, he pulled the boys in and was just like, hey, like, the last practice, let's make it count. Let's get after it tomorrow. You know, Charlie's a little more quieter. He's a leader, kind of lead by example. And he just went out there and gave his all on the field. And, you know, it was a hot day. And, you know, shout out to our athletic trainers who were there to help us stay hydrated and with some cooling towels and different things like that. You know, but it was truly a team effort between the team, the kids, the trainers, our principal, our athletic director, and then most importantly, our families who helped make this possible for us, help support us, helped us with meals, helped us just, you know, get this team so close together. It really speaks, you know, volumes. And, you know, everybody talks about culture, but, you know, it takes every individual within that program to make a great culture. And, you know, that's one thing I can walk away from the season was like we had a real big family with some really outstanding culture.
You mentioned the culture part. You mentioned different elements of adversity that popped up. What value, though, was there for this team? And has there been over the years that you've noticed in terms of you guys play a challenging schedule? A lot of times you're used to being road warriors, and it doesn't seem like that ever impacted you with how many trips your team made away from EC Glass in this run to a championship.
Yeah, you know, we have a tough out of conference schedule. We played actually 2 state champions this year. We played North Cross, who won the Division II private, and then we played Charlotte Catholic, who's a nationally ranked team out of North Carolina. They won the state championship down in North Carolina as well. So we're always trying to test ourselves. As far as traveling, you know, I feel like that builds character, being able to show up somewhere else and kind of lock in and execute your game plan and give 110. And, you know, we started on the road regional semifinals at JF. It was a 48-hour game, you know, due to some thunder and lightning. And we came out there and dominated right away. And we kind of set the tone and put ourselves in a position for day 2 to kind of just do what we needed to do and complete that game. Then winning that regional championship at Salem was huge for these boys. You know, we were down a little bit and we had to come back and face some adversity and kind of bounce back. And that was really outstanding. You know, we were able to host a Woodgrove game. That was awesome. The boys came out ready to go. I mean, that was an outstanding 4 quarters we played. And then when we went up to Meridian, you know, real tough test, 19-0 team, undefeated team, having to go on the road, you know, 3.5-hour ride. You know, we knew this was going to be a test for our boys, but there was no question in my mind and our leaders' mind that they were ready for it. Meridian scored the first goal, and then I think we woke up a little bit and just played outstanding. And that second half of that game, you know, David Matthews made some really big plays for us, getting possession for us, getting it to our guys, scoring some big goals. And, you know, same thing with the Salem game. You know, we started off 2-0. We were down 2-0, and you know, our boys believed in each other, stepped up for each other, and came back and won that game. And ultimately, we were up 4 goals, and then Salem did a run late, and then Landry McCall kind of put that final dagger in late in the game to go up 2 goals and help us win that state championship.
Kind of like the Knicks, right? You know, you started slow, you rallied, and you pulled away when it mattered.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. So.
Eddie Renuska with us here in the Fast Lane. Eddie, great to speak with you. Thank you very much. Congratulations on getting another state championship. Enjoy your time away and decompressing before I'm sure you're back to the grind soon.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate you having me.
Our pleasure. Eddie Renuska with us here in the Fast Lane, and a way for us to wrap up our chat with him this afternoon. You can drop him by the way when you get a moment. Because, and no offense to Eddie, of course, he's got plenty of other fun things to do. But, you know, I mean, look, they play a physical brand of lacrosse. I mean, I think it's pretty well documented in the area. He mentioned that as well, but inevitably it worked out well for them. And I mean, look, they've, you know, love them or hate them, they've helped put lacrosse in the area on the map just because of the fact that, you know, it's not a sport that gets as much recognition as other sports. And you combine that with JF, JF has grown in their ability the last handful of years. Glass clearly has asserted themselves as the program of the area just by virtue of having 2-0 in the state championship column. But then you added, and he mentioned it a moment ago, he did not mention VES, which is fine. But VES, North Cross in the private school sector, PH, Patrick Henry, and Salem over in Roanoke. It's not where every school is playing it, like a football, like a baseball, like a basketball, you know, those sports. But it's where more schools have picked it up and embraced it. And that's something that if you just like sports and like seeing people active and moving, that's one of the things that is pretty cool from that particular run. So if you missed anything from that or anything else, Fastlane, Ed Lane, wherever you listen to podcasts, we will have them archived there shortly. Fastlane, Ed Lane, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram for various audiograms as well. Tomorrow in the Fastlane, Mike Neff on NASCAR on an Air Force, Naval Air Force base. We'll get his thoughts on that, plus more tomorrow in the Fast Lane. So join us 5 to 6 p.m. on the VTRN Sports app and ask your smart speaker, Open VTRN Sports. Thanks for listening to The Fast Lane on VTRN Sports, 93.3 FM, W227 BG Timberlake, and 1320 AM, WVGM Lynchburg.